Blaze, how you doing, my friend?
Doing pretty good, nice and early, but I'm ready for the CIS showdown here. I was thinking a little bit about what you were talking about yesterday, the idea of what would be like the top three, top four Western teams, and really one or two of those slots has to belong to the CIS, but it's really hard to call. There's a lot of really front runners here that have shown they have the potential to take games off one another, even this deep into the patch. So it's really interesting. This is probably one of the more dynamic scenes right now, as far as the shuffle being pretty much concluded, but teams still trying to find their form. And yeah, I really am excited to see if Moscow 5 can pull off the results that we would expect from this caliber of players. And obviously, Empire, they have their on days and their off days, but when they are on, they are on.
Yeah, this M5 was hot yesterday in their first game with PGG's Mirana, and it was banned out. I forget if it was the second stage or the first stage, but it was banned out in the first four picks or the first four bans by their opponents yesterday in their second game. So this time they get it at the same time. They give up Lycan, they give up Batrider, and it is going to be hard to fight around the Roshan pit with Lycan constantly split pushing, with the Batrider's ability to gain vision over the pit. I do like Empire's draft so far, and I think you'd be crazy not to take those heroes if they're left in the pool. Still, you get Brew, some pretty good control for Lycan before he gets a BKB. Obviously, the Cyclone's fantastic, the Drunken Haze, the Evasion. Overall, Brew's entire kit matches up well against Lycan in fights and makes him pretty difficult to bring down. So I think on both counts, a solid draft so far. I do find it interesting, though. You know, we just don't see much emphasis from the CIS teams at building Roche-centric lineups. Like, we very rarely have seen teams go for a lot of Death Prophet, minus armor heroes like Alchemist. This was something we saw a lot of out of EG at the World Esports Championship last week. We also saw a lot from Vici Gaming and the other Chinese teams, and I'm wondering if we're going to see it more over the course of this tournament. But so now it seems like the teams don't really care so much about Roche. But not to say they don't want to go for it, but they're not really drafting with it in mind the same way.
Yeah, and of course there will be some key heroes banned out here. Obviously, we saw the Faceless Void Skywrath taken out by Moscow 5, the Death Prophet Razor to kind of constitute the Death Ball slash Roche attempts. They take that off the board as well. So, I mean, they are denying those picks to some degree and just trying to prevent the possibility of them, but you're right. They really haven't been implementing them the same way we've seen a lot of teams do so, and the gameplay therefore focuses more on getting experience from the enemy, just getting a lot of kills, getting a lot of action across the map, and that's what we love to see. Of course, we love to see a lot of activity. Usually, the Roshan forces those fights, but a lot of times we actually see it just kind of going one way. Like the first three Roshans pretty much guaranteed to one side just based on the draft alone, and that's not always as interesting to see. But we'll see something a little bit more contested here. Obviously, Empire are going to bring in a lot of early momentum behind the Lycanthrope and the Batrider. The bit of tower emphasis to get the Blink Dagger up on Bat, and from there just trying to follow up the initiation with some real damage. But there are plenty of options for Moscow 5, how they respond in terms of supports. Since they didn't get banned out, they could pick up either the Vengeful Spirit, the Abaddon even, they could go for the Disruptor, they can go for even Shadow Demon for defensive disruptions. There's a lot of reactive play that you can do when a target gets lassoed, and I think that's going to be important, is responding to these situations appropriately. Hell, even a Nyx could be at least delaying the Batrider's movement away with his Spike Carapace. So a lot of different ways to respond, and I'm curious exactly which one they'll go with.
Yeah, I am interested. The Venge still definitely out there as an option. Also, Faceless Void has made it into the first phase of bans, which yesterday didn't really see that at all. And we'll get some more control now for the Lycan. Also a good way to deal with this Batrider when he jumps in with the Sleep Grip, and perhaps most importantly, set up for Mirana's Arrow. So I'm actually liking this Bane pick quite a bit, but my one concern is I look at M5's lineup and they have almost no D-push. There was a Rubik out there who's okay set up for the Mirana. There was a Sand King as well, which has seemed to be less of a popular support lately in the CIS scene. They're more going for the Earthshaker, but getting neither of those, it does put a lot of pressure on them to find some ganks and pickoffs, because else I do look at them as a lineup that has very, very little ability to stop the split push and clear out the waves.
Yeah, but we'll have to see how much Empire puts emphasis on that. Right now, the Lycan is the one hero that can really just take down towers pretty well by himself, but if you just pick up something like a hero that can teleport to the lane, do a quick little wave clear, it's not going to be the end of the world. Like, right now, unless I go for a lineup that is really heavy in Roche, it's not going to be defining how they play. Vigil Spirit is going to be picked up here, and the aura does contribute, but it's not a direct way of doing it. You still have to have like a Chen or an Enchantress coming out of the jungle and helping out in that capacity. So I would have to say that they should definitely pick up one hero with some good AoE spell damage, but they don't have to be sweating the towers just yet. If they can just win out the fights, make sure their arrows are on point, make sure their stun combos are on point, they should still just be able to hold the line just based on their own skill sets and make a lot of kills happen. So we'll see with this fourth pick here. This is the definitive one for Empire, whether they're going to commit to the push or whether they're just going to kind of go for a little bit of negative armor here, a little bit of disable and range of initiation there, and just kind of go for an all-around lineup.
Yeah, it's a big pick. Could be a lot of things. Resolution has played the Batrider mid, so that's an option. Most likely we're looking at it in the off lane. His Invoker is still out there. Hero hasn't been as popular lately and is kind of weak to these early roams that Bane and Mirana often throw out, but I think it could still work, and if they get through the laning stage intact, their mid game would be really strong.
There we go.
They'll actually go for the Silencer, and could be a support Silencer, but we saw the carry one yesterday. It worked brilliantly, and wouldn't surprise me if we see one again. And you look at M5, mono pools are a bit small on a lot of these heroes, the Mirana, Brew, and the Centaur. Even Bane, his spell, he's got a pretty decent mono pool, but his spells are just extremely expensive.
I want to see a silent silencer just because you get to say it. And his name is best for the hero. It's a matchup made in heaven. He was born for it.
It's got to happen.
There you go. We'll see the puck band out. Yeah, I think that actually would have been a problem for the Centaur there. If they could get some kind of lockdown to prevent them from stampeding away right when the Global Suns comes out, the fight is kind of auto-won for Empire. So the puck would have been very difficult to deal with, but there still are a lot of kind of hard stun, hard lockdown type abilities that can cause them some grief. I'm not sure. They wouldn't really go for like a Disruptor or a Treant Protector at this stage in the draft, but yeah, I guess it's possible. I mean, if they do run the aggressive tri-lane, then obviously they can pick up one more support, but otherwise you're going to probably see that Silencer in the supportive role as you were talking about from yesterday, and then the Lycan is the one that they need to give farm priority. So it's still okay to have a Silencer in a supportive sense, because when it comes down to the late game, he still actually is one that can transition into semi-carrying the game on his back. He can still get that Aghanim's Refresher around the 40 to 50 minute mark, somewhere in there, and he can actually make a huge contribution in that regard. But we'll have to see. A lot of this will come down to lanes, and Moscow 5 have to keep that in mind.
And a Slark. So they'll get the 1v1 shutdown for the Batrider, and this looks like it's going to be an aggressive Centaur tri-lane from M5. Bane Mirana arrow setup, Stomp follow-up. You get a Brewmaster mid who, well, I don't know what he's laning against. I was thinking maybe it'll be the Lycan mid, but Brew is a tough matchup for him, so I'm not so sure if that'd be the case. But yeah, I like the Slark pick. It kind of fits with what M5 has been doing. They've been one of the more aggressive laning teams in this tournament, and Empire will go Doom. And this is a concern for me. Their lanes are looking pretty weak, and I think M5 are going to look to punish that with an aggressive tri-lane.
Yeah, lanes are going to be the weak point for Empire here. They have a lot of potential in the mid game, especially when all of their ultimates are available. I mean, that's a scary team fight. The Lasso, the Global Silence, and the Doom. You don't feel like you're going to be comfortable with going into most fights, especially as the Brewmaster. You have to be very careful. But that said, if they just really put the pressure on in the laning phase, I think that they're going to be able to just win this one out and at least prevent the Lycanthrope from getting the early momentum to push. Like, his Vlad's timing is going to be off, his just general momentum. But right now they're going to send Mag to this safe lane, it looks like, and they're going to make their way up top while Resolution goes for the solo mid.
Well, with that said, guys, we're underway for day number 2 of 3 for the Game Show League. It's our first of 8 matches on the day, so if you plan on staying awake, you'd best get yourself some caffeine, some coffee, and stay alert, because we've got a lot of Russian Dota coming your way. We'll start with M5. You got Vigas Tratata on the Brewmaster. Nexus will be handling the Bane. Below your brain on the Centaur War Runner. That puts Tron onto the Slark, and PGG, the legend himself, will be playing. But support Mirana was sensational yesterday. I'm hoping he can deliver again today. On the side of Empire, Mag, safe lane Batrider for now. Resolution, the Lycan mid, so they are going the Lycan mid. I mentioned they might. Silent will be on the Doom off lane. Always want to fly the support Silencer. And Solo, the support Venge. Aggressive wards getting dropped down. And the smoke will continue. Both teams getting similar vision of this hill. They've now blocked off the big camp. And M5 just looking to ensure that this Doom and Batrider don't have an easy time in the woods. So, good call by Empire. They have predicted the lanes perfectly. Now the question is, will the lanes work out? Batrider, as elusive as he is, if he gets caught by a sleep, he's still probably giving up first blood.
Most definitely. There's still a lot of potential to lose out the lanes here for Empire. Even if they saw it coming, it's not cut and clear just yet. I mean, we'll see Tron on the top lane, what he can do on the Slurk, and if he's going to be able to survive the barrage of disables and so on coming his direction. But yeah, I think they might have to actually play a little bit of musical lanes, at least rotate the Mirana towards the top. Yeah, they're going to bring her up there, and she's probably one of the better heroes to deal with these confusing lineups where you see, okay, well, they're not really an aggressive tri-lane in the sense that the Doom doesn't look for kills early, but at the same time, they're a threat they have to be dealt with, and they're going to bring in the response team. Centaur up top for now, but if the Mirana roams up there, he should be relatively well defended under the tower.
And they are prepping for mid. Nexus ready to come in with a double damage run of sleep, but quickly Resolution retreats into the trees. Believe he saw this rotation mid from earlier and is playing it safe. They did have an opening with PGG sitting just north of the lane for a sleep arrow setup. And now PGG makes his way top. Starts trading blows with the Silencer. Difficult support hero to trade blows with, though, on your own. And already you can see the auto attacks of the Silencer adding up, even before the Stolen Intelligence. Hasn't even skilled anything yet, so we'll see if he wants to level up the glaives or not for that early harassment. So yeah, mid lane.
Yeah. It's notable that Curse is Silent makes it very difficult for...
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I think you might be lagging or something. There's kind of a delay there. But yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, it's just notable that the... Sure. It's notable that the Curse of Silent makes it very difficult for the Centaur to actually get stuns off in the lane. Like, he only has an extra, like, 90 mana to work with, so you get a couple curses on him, and he's not really going to be able to contribute too much. So we'll see if that's going to be an issue for him. But I think that's one of Bane's problems as well. He has pretty high mana cost spells, and even with the Enfeeble spam out, Curse of Silent could be very painful against him.
There's your sleep. Solo's going to tank it. Unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to be enough for him. Then it eats the double edge, and Solo, well, he took the bullet, but then it just killed him off. Blow Your Brain will end up going down to the trade from the Glaives. Nexus now looking for a secondary kill. They will find one. Silent still being brought low by PGG, but these Glaives of Wisdom are doing a lot of early work. Silent turns. It's going to be 3 kills going the way, a 3-for-2 exchange. Well, the first blood still going the way of M5 in the end, but an expensive first blood at that.
Yeah, definitely. 3-for-2. It's going to be a very active laning phase. We can tell. Neither one is going to give up the tri-lane just based on.
He's level 4, and I want to point out he actually leveled up his glaives twice, which we really don't see much on supports silencers early on. Normally it's the last word max first, and even like some points in curse. But hey, he just saw an opportunity for kills and he went for it.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty awesome way to perceive it. I still think the curse is really strong against Bane and Centaur, but in this case, he prioritizes that, and Arrow's going to hit something.
Oh, is it? It's going to hit Silent at point blank. That's not what they're hoping for. Blow Your Brain wildly going for a stomp. He'll end up getting caught, picked off by Solo and friends, and now the chase is on. With the bonus damage from the Vengeful Spirit, a secondary stun, M5 are getting run over. This support silencer is wrecking, and PGG's got to be careful. He's got to leap. He's trying to bait him in a little bit farther, and Always Want to Fly might just die to taking the bait. The leap back, the turn with the arrow. Wow, PGG. What a bait. What a play. Silencer should have seen that coming with the stick charges and the fact that leap hadn't been used, but, well, they might get him anyway. The dives here, just 2 auto attacks. One from the Doom, one from the Venge. They'll get the kill. Oh my. Still a fantastic play by PGG.
A kind of subtle and understated aspect of this tri-lane is actually Doom's contribution beyond just being the arrow tanker and the big brute force. He actually devoured a Centaur, and that 15 attack speed has been doing work for Always Want to Fly. Those glaives have been flying out left and right, and it's tiny, but you get that free gloves of haste, and you're able to actually throw a lot more auto attacks out in these skirmishes. So we've seen that come to a result pretty quickly, and even tanky heroes like Bane drop.
Has plus 10 in. This is a very farm silencer. It's the bottom room. There'll be a bit of a skirmish for a haste, and in the end it was picked up by Mag. He's bottled it. Now looking to dive for this one a bit deeper. There's no leap for some time. There are stick charges. Just trying to wait, force out the stick at the very least. Diving deep for Tron will dodge away from the arrow and forces 3 heroes off to the mid lane. He'll quickly make his way back bottom. But yeah, Blaze, already we're looking at plus 10 in, and we're 4 minutes in. That is scary.
Even if they weren't dramatically winning this tri-lane, the fact that they're trading kills constantly is actually extremely favorable for Empire, because they're still going to be getting farm on the Doom because of Devour, and they are getting all that juicy intelligence. Silent is going to go ahead and keep his Centaur Aura. I think that's really good for the team in general. And if they can just find one initiating disable, they're going to find a pretty easy kill.
But there's an arrow.
The other way around.
Oh no, he's want to fly. Then the turn comes as Silent and Solo strut forward, looking for this Bane kill. There will be a sleep. There is still a Brain Sap available. But Nexus going to be forced to use this one, I think, with the last word ticking him low. He ends up popping before he can get off the cast and gives up another 2 intelligence. It's 12 intelligence for Always Want to Fly, and we're barely 5 minutes in.
Yeah, and worse, 2 less intelligence for Bane. This hero does not have great base intelligence. He's equal in all stats. You can actually just look at his stats right now. It's usually 26, 26, 26. He's already lost 6.
He can't cast Sleep and Brain Sap without stick charges. It's at that point now.
He's lost 6 intelligence in this laning stage. Absolutely insane.
He's going to lose more at this rate. Stun up. Oh, maybe not with the 2-hero stun. This will actually turn against them. Beautiful arrow. Nice follow-up for PGG with the Leap and Starfall, the 2-hero stomp. A much-needed turn from 5. And now bottom lane. Tron looking for Mag. Can't quite go in all the way. It has 9 stick charges if Mag chooses to contest. It does
he's
seem...
about level 6, so he's pretty much got this lane under wraps now.
Yeah, and this is generally how I expect the Slark versus Bat matchup to go, is for it to be fairly even at early levels, and then once the Slark starts getting close to level 6, he can threaten for some kills. He's already on the wraparound, and he might find the Bat Rider. He will do so. Looking for the leap, he gets juked. I think he might have this kill anyway, though, if he just chases... No. Not going to get the kill in the end. Missed the leap, and now 4 heroes rotate onto him.
They can't get the missile, though. I think
he's going to be silenced. I think he might be dead here to the Lycan. Leap, cooling down in a few seconds. Can he body block the leap? No, not able to do so. Tron makes it down the low ground. Leads Empire on a merry chase around the map. And they're walking into a Bruce split. This is not advisable, Solo. Don't go there. Okay, he won't. Yeah, he was thinking about it, though.
This is very, very active for an early game of this sort. Like, this is really what Empire were looking for, was just the bloodbath that would ensue if they were able to put out the aggressive stance in the laning configuration and just go ahead and have that those initiating disables. So we're going to see that Doom come out on Nexus. He's dead. Last word's going to be enough. Even with the Centaur Stampede, he's going down.
Yeah, we'll end up popping, and now the global. It's already a level 6 silencer. Support aggressive tri-lane. We're 7 minutes in. Always Want to Fly will pay for this one, but not before collecting yet another 2 intelligence. He's just been racking it up all game long. He's level 6.5 now, and the same level as the enemy Centaur, the farmer in the tri-lane. That's kind of ridiculous. They will get silent, though. It looks like they get a bit of a trade here. Not much of a way out. He's got stick charges. Doesn't even bother to pop them. No, oh, he will. Then he'll stomp. But he ain't going anywhere, I don't think. Chase a little bit farther. They can Dark Pack this one off and get the kill. And they will do so. So they get the trade, but it takes a long time, and this frees up the bottom lane for Bat Rider, who happily farms towards his Blake.
Yeah, Mag hasn't had the best of times this game. If we just look at the CS board in general, he's starting out 41-3, and that's really good, but we see that now he can't really hold his own. So the time frame right now, where he can just get free farm on the bottom lane and on the jungle, is very critical, because he doesn't want to be sitting around looking for his Blink Dagger for another 4 or 5 minutes. He wants to take the CS that he got before the Slark started manning up and really turn that into some revenue streams. So we'll see him farming up, getting some Mud Golems, but actually going for a little bit of Firefly damage to try to find this Blink around the 11-minute mark.
Yeah, that's still a pretty good timing, considering that they've had such a good start at the tri-lane. They'll have Global as well, so when Bat Rider jumps in, if Doom gets a Blink Dagger and jumps in, doesn't look like Silent will be going that route, but yeah, they will have the Global to prevent counter-initiation, and once he gets Force, that's a very difficult combo. Every time that happens, even the Slark can be food to that. Won't be able to Dark Pact it off if he's already been silenced. So I think there's a lot of potential here for Empire to snowball their advantage every time the ults are off, and if you're M5, I think you really got to start finding openings. Brewmaster is Blake now, and they should be putting pressure elsewhere on the map.
Yeah. You never really looked at Moscow 5's lineup and thought, this team is going to be under the gun pretty soon, but this Silencer pick has just done so much work in the laning phase that it actually is going to be the case. I mean, the Bane isn't really contributing all that much with his reduced intelligence and the fact that he's not level 6. And the Slark had an okay time, but he wants more. He can't really get solo kills right now. He can solo zone the Bat Rider, but he needs a +1 to get the kills. They're just going to focus down right now on the tier 1 tower, but that's just to even up the one they lost up top.
Meanwhile, Resolution applies a bit of pressure. They'll get the tier 1 bottom lane, but like you said, it's a later tower for them. And the pressure continues to mount as the Lycan will rotate in towards that lane. Pushing for the tier 2 top tower with Doom online, with the Centaur Stomp ready. Midas about to be picked up on Doom. Empire continue to just snowball and acquire steam in this game. And still, we look for M5's first big team fight on the back of a... Uh-oh. Oh, no. They went Moonlight Shadow, but this wolf just spotted them out. This is a disaster. Completely wasted rotation. All 5 heroes coming in. Resolution will even use his ult form just to get out of here a bit quicker. And they'll bring Mag in as well. Just picked up his Blake. Just got a smoke. They know Moonlight Shadow's now been wasted, and they'll be itching for a fight, it seems.
Yeah. Now, Blow Your Brain just picked up his Blink Dagger as well. Which do you think will be more relevant in the coming minute or two? Do you think the Blink on the Centaur or the Blink on the Bat?
I think the Bat will be bigger because he's got Global backing him up. And if you get off the Global and then just jump with that, like, what does M5 do?
Yeah.
They have absolutely nothing at that point. So, assuming they chain it properly, I think that's the more important pickup, yet we'll see if they get the jump. How quick will always want to fly B? They get Ta-Ta-Ta, holding the Global for now. Now will be thrown out along with the Doom, and immediately the Panda's out of the fight. Then the 2 heroes stop in the middle of Stampede damage, preventing Blow Your Brain's retreat, getting the Panda killed, and PGG abandoned ship. It's up to Tron to turn this one, with the arrow coming through, connects on Silent, still trying to finish off the Bat Rider, but he backs off before doing so, now leaps to the north. They'll lose the Mirana as well. They've given up 3, got nothing to return, and Tron must retreat to the west. Go west, young man, they say. And the slithering Slark will try to make his retreat. But now, oh, that's not a good leap. Oh, Slarky. Slark. That is not where you want to be. He'll keep on running. He can't get the move speed. He's got 2 stick charges. He's done. He's done. Just auto attack should do him in. Question is, will the neutral get the deny? Not even that.
Oh, that neutral's pretty weak at it. 8 friggin' base damage.
And
That's probably not gonna happen.
it's 22 int now. 22 int at 11 minutes. He's averaging 2 int a minute. Bonus int.
That's a Mystic Staff almost. Like, they just almost handed him a full 2,700 gold item out of this bonus, and that's taken from them too. So we talk about, jacking camps, like stealing big neutral stacks and stuff like that. That's essentially like stealing a super ancient camp, because the amount of intelligence and the value of those stats that you claim for your own is not only obtained by yourself, but taken from your enemy. They're taking a lot of resources off the map, as during that Wild Goose Chase, Lycan was able to take the tier 1 in mid, and hell, he's going to be going for a Necro Book very, very fast.
He's got a double damage rune bottled, and he's about to find a haste rune, and it looks like they will defend mid lane. Bat Rider ready to jump in. They won't have Global for this fight. That's the only concern, but still they get Ta-Ta-Ta, pull him back in. The defensive sleep will allow him to get off his split, and now the tides will turn. Always want to fly, forced to retreat out, dodges the arrow, but still they follow up onto him. Doom onto Blow Your Brain. They'll keep the Centaur out of this fight for the remainder. And immediately the Silencer falls. He loses his gem in the midst of this.
Ouch.
Not sure who's going to pick it up. For the time being, nobody wants it. The Moonlight Shadow continues. At M5 on the back of that are trying to make their retreat. They actually snag the gem on PGG. The Bane will end up falling, and the chase continues. Resolution, hasted with a double damage run in the middle of this fight. Who needs the ult form from the Lycan? Does give you that crit, which is nice, but it's just the fastest man you'll ever see. Oh, and he's saving the ult for after the haste rune wears off. And now he'll pop it. And he'll get Blow Your Brain as well. It's going to be 3 dead. Tron made his way out. PGG did escape. And he did get the gem. So still a decent bounty for M5, taking that away from the Snowballing Silencer. But not sure if it's enough.
Yeah, if they can't prevent the Roshan, it's not enough, unfortunately. Like, the Silencer pick was huge, but they just followed it up anyways. The timing was just slightly off for Empire there, because Silence Doom was on a 2-second cooldown when the lasso was just ending. So in the end, they didn't get really anything. Oh, Resolution still wanted to tank up a couple stuns, and the arrow did hit a Wolfie there, but looks like it's just going to be enough to force them out of the pit. They have Global, but they don't have the Doom, and I think that's a really big cooldown for the next engagement.
Yeah, and we see it again. Like, you have Global, which pretty much takes the whole M5 squad out of the fight. The only one who could possibly dodge that is the Slark with a perfectly timed Dark Pact. And realistically, like, you can't really tell Global's coming in Dark Pact in anticipation. You can guess, hope for the best, but yeah, they have no BKBs up on this team, no Mantis Stone, no way to remove it of any kind, and when Global's there, then 5 heroes can't counter-initiate. Bat jumps in, lassos 1, another one gets doomed, or they just throw everything at the Brew and he goes down. And without split, it's tough for M5 to take a convincing fight. So, to me, every time Global's up, if Empire are able to orchestrate it properly with good initiation, like, they shouldn't lose the fight. It's only if they get caught in an awkward position or have to blow the Global defensively that I see them losing one. And it's right back into the pit for Empire. But they are coming from the rear. Tron leaping forward, dodged away by Blake. Centaur leaping forward to try and kill steal off the Aegis, but he's a bit too late for this. Now the global of Always Wanna Fly has been thrown out, and from the high ground, PGG tries to start doing the chip damage, but Resolution's in munch mode. He chomps up one. He looks for a second, and his Blow Your Brain, actually the double edges, he drops very low. Now the Panda split. Didn't go for a final clap, just immediately split. Resolution will find a kill. And then on the south end of the engagement, there's a Cyclone up on the Doom. A retreat attempted from the Brew. He's just streaming out of this base, or out of this fight, I should say. But Solo continues pursuit. He'll get Boulder Toss first trouble. Tron to the south, and in the end, well, the Aegis still on the Lycanthrope, and so definitely a win there for Empire.
Yeah, absolutely. The problem is Split didn't honestly do all that much there. They killed the Fire Panda off immediately, and they're just going to march right down the mid lane. They've still got the Doom cooldown. Solo's getting swapped back. They really have an easy tier 2 on their hands. And what can the Slark do in return? He's not one of those heroes that just can go ahead, oh, don't worry, guys, I'll farm up a lane on split push. An arrow does connect, but the tower is down. At worst, Solo dies alone.
Uh-oh. Good positioning from Blow Your Brain. He moves to the north side of Resolution to ensure the 2-hero double edge, but they don't have an arrow to cancel his TP, and Hope barely escapes. Silent, not so lucky, then pops his drum charges and heads north. And PGG with no arrow, no stick charges, don't think they actually get this kill. He can leap to chase. Maybe with Blow Your Brain's additional blink they can. Mag's thinking about coming in. Doesn't have a lasso ready though. And Silent, he turns. Will he doom? He gets the 3-hero stomp yet again. And keeps her running south. Arrow, still no mana for it. There's 5 stick charges now on PGG, but elects not to use them. As Tron leaps forward with his own blink dagger, but doesn't quite find the right angle to go on Silent. Now trying to retreat out as Mag continues his own pursuit. He has a lasso ready. Arrow, tanked by a wolf, will continue moving forward. Dark Pact is up. So even if he jumps in with the lasso, it's got to be just right. And it's not. The blink out from the Slark in the nick of time.
Yeah, that blink is new for the Slark, but it wasn't enough to bring down the Doom, unfortunately, and they just, they don't get as much as they needed to right there. They don't even bring down the Aegis of the Lycan, as you just barely got that TP off. So in the end, they just get to push with full momentum behind them. The Doom will get a blink dagger of its own. He's been Midasing and devouring in the midst of the fact that they've been taking control of the map. So right now, you're going to see a huge gold, and actually we can call it now net worth swing in favor of Empire.
Finally, man. Jeez,
Dude.
that took them long enough. It's
it's
been literally 2 years that people have been asking for this. All in good Valve time, I suppose, but all right. Now the graph means a lot more. This is quite a good change. I approve.
Yeah. I was smiling as soon as I thought. I'm like, there would be so many people that just don't give a damn, but I can't even count the number of times I've had to explain, okay, well, they bought back half a dozen extra times, they've done a lot of consumables, scrolls, etc. Just show the net worth. There you go.
Well, this is another one of our production features now, I guess, antiquated. Because we did have the net worth bar graph. But Doom will be there in Tron. Can't Dark Pact that off. The Sound starts to chase. Gets off the level def. I don't think it's quite enough for the kill. He needs a little more damage for this, but he's gotten cocky. They'll have to use a global just to secure his retreat out of the fight. And he'll get out safely, but the Slark will end up living. And barely at that. Quickly start healing up.
Arrow hits a wolf, but not the one they want, just the alpha, and now they go and pop the Moonlight Shadow. They do have Sentry Wards in the stash, but none on hand that I can see, so that Shadow is a full get out of jail free card, but they're kind of using it to initiate. Have to be careful here. The wolf is going to scout everything out, but the arrow is going to connect.
Solo caught out of position. Lasso will be there on the Brewmaster, but they need some follow-up for this with no Global Silence and no Doom. He's getting off his split. The question is whether or not it's soon enough. Solo being pursued to the ends of the earth by Blow Your Brain. Will they end up killing him? They will. Took him long enough. But finally they secure it. And Miwa on the south side of the engagement. Vigas still in pursuit of Silent. Has a Blink Dagger. Cooling down in a few seconds. Arrow narrowly dodged. There is a Blink from the Doom. And to the south he goes. So in the end, only losing the Venge, considering they had no Global and no Doom. That's a pretty damn good escape by Empire.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be worse than that, but they still aren't really taking anything more with this Aegis. You want them to see them actually really coordinate their abilities a little bit more, but the Doom is the big thing. They couldn't follow up Doom after Lasso, and with that, there isn't as much of a fight. Like, it's really hard to go up against Vigas' Brewmaster now that he's hit level 11. He does bring a lot to the table there. We do see a deep ward coming in, not actually going to be a Sentry Ward in range of that Observer. A very interesting placement coming out from the Bane.
Hey, where's that gem, by the way?
A good question.
It's in the Dire... Oh, it's in the Dire base. Okay.
Yeah, Moscow 5 were the last to hold it. Oh, mid lane.
I was trying to figure out what happened to it, because I didn't see it on the Radiant Courier, and hadn't checked the Dire base yet. So, yeah, M5 still hold on to that, and pretty nice. Mostly they just don't want to give it away, and potentially have the Moonlight Shadow countered. So the stolen gem remains in their inventory. But yeah, like you were mentioning, the Sentry just a bit out of D-Ward range. As we'll see aggression from the Lycan. Charging forth onto the Bane. He will get caught by an arrow. Clap as well, but remember, he does have his Aegis. So this is going to be life number 2 coming back in just a few seconds. The Necromanians are doing quite a bit of work, as the Courier's forced to retreat to the north, just as Gloves of Haste, but he'll take whatever he can get. Meanwhile, the Brew, not really microing at all, and he may end up going down just with Earth Panda form. He will, right as he returns to the main Panda, he dies. Just seconds before it. And he'll end up dropping. Another good pick-off. They still have Doom. Global's ready. It's high ground time, baby. This is like the worst possible situation for M5. As the Aegis was about to expire regardless. It was like 30 seconds off.
Yeah. This Necro's actually really strong against the Bane right now. With him only having 440 mana, you saw his mana pool just evaporate. One cast from the ranged one, and he has half his mana pool negated. But we'll see them try to defend the high ground here.
Try to make Moonlight Shadow to go in, and they'll jump in and always want to fly. He gets off the global quickly, though. And now they look to turn this. A solo stunning one hero will end up retreating out. Tron also forced to turn tail and run. And it's a very bold Fiend's Grip, quickly canceled as they swap Nexus in a bit deeper. Nice Starfall from PGG. Birdie'd always want to fly low. He will get finished off. Tron's in deep, a little bit too deep. And say hello to the big bad wolf. Dodge away from the Panda Clap. Does chase for the Mirana, but thinks better of it. Decides to back off in the end. They'll doom the Brew, but he doesn't actually have split. It's kind of a casual doom. Doesn't net a kill, and that Lycan I felt was going to do a lot more, but they didn't really block anyone down with Doom right away, and just wasn't the best fight.
The Necros weren't up either at that point. They used it on the top lane fight or the jungle fight. And so they just take the tier 3. They get some chip damage on the range racks. But, oh, the Necros are going in too. They're going to maybe try to suicide. Oh, look at the mana pool. That is just so ridiculous. They have like arcanes and bottles and stuff just to try to sustain themselves. But they really just can't hold against the burn. So they're going to go ahead and lose about half the HP on their range racks.
Oh, PGG.
PGG arrows it.
He can use that gold, man. He needs it. It's still not... Gold-wise, it's still not looking good. An Empire with Devour Gold, piling up the Roshan Gold from earlier, and probably more coming soon, as they do have all the towers down, so... Map control clearly in their favor. They'll just wait for, I'd say one more Rosh, and then they will look to end this game. Don't let M5 get too much bigger. You've already got a single lane of Rex exposed. All they got to do is wait a few minutes. How long is it going to be? Could be a little under a minute, could be 4 minutes, and we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, the big deal here is now they have the Geometry side. They were using the Necros to de-ward a little bit before, but now they march in the enemy jungle. They're going to be seeing the one ward that they have up. They can crush Moscow 5's sense of security with just extreme pertinence, going ahead and de-warding everything, seeing the Moonlight Shadow coming and responding to that appropriately. The only thing they lack right now is the Doom, and that just came back up. So they're in a really good spot here to kind of just choke this one out. But Moscow 5, they still have a lot of tools to try to create the openings. The Fiend's Grip is a very high-value spell if they can get it off in full. And, of course, the arrows could be aimed as well.
Look at that vacuum lasso on the Vigas. He could have gotten off his split, but he's like, okay, he's not going to be able to lasso me. Well, Mag has other ideas. He's got a vacuum cleaner instead of a normal lasso. Nexus will get called out next. They'll lose 2. And now we see the high ground push. They're not even fighting with the Lycan. Resolution's busy in his own world top lane. They'll take the first lane of Rex. They're forced to Stampede to get in here quickly. But Resolution just doesn't care. He might pay for this. He might wish he had cared more as he tries to retreat out. He's living on 9 health. One more auto attack from PGG will bring him down, yet the damage was done as the Wolves pursue PGG to the fountain. Ends up falling to the Doom, who dives deeper for this. It's 4 down. The Courier wanted to recover the gem. It nearly dies to the Necro minions of the Wolves. And then the lone survivor is Tron. Off in no man's land to the left.
Yeah, and they get the... I mean, even if the Lycan has to sacrifice himself for Rax, he's perfectly happy with that. But the fact they can follow it up with kills after that is just showing how in dominant form Empire is right now. Going in, they have the Force Staff. They can blink Shivas on top of their targets. Nowhere is safe unless the Brewmaster gets off the perfect ultimate.
It really just goes back to that offensive tri-lane from Empire. Like, you look at this lane on paper, and you're like, it's a Doom offensive tri-lane. Sure, Doom is Radiant, so he can devour a creep quickly. It's not the worst tri-lane in the world, but you wouldn't think that they'd be that strong, and it was just the Silencer that did all the work. Going for early points. The Glaives just out-harassed everyone on M5, and the other thing was they did a good job of anticipating the arrows. They'd see a sleep, they'd immediately move to block it, so nobody ever got slept into an arrow, and the hero that tanked it was the Doom, so even though he ended up being in trouble, it was giving the Silencer free reign in the fights. And after those first few kills, they got an early Global, converted that into a kill. Early Doom, converted that into another. Empire really just snowballed this, and I'd say just It was the little things in the tri lane that have made this game what it is for them.
Yeah, Empire really knew Moscow playstyles well with the fact that PGG and Nexus were constantly looking for kills. That's what they wanted out of it, with the Doom kind of providing that buffer by staying on the front line, taking a few bullets, and just being that high HP hero that can deal with all the damage coming in. They were able to really make use of the two backline heroes, the Vengeful Spirit, the Silencer, in how they dealt damage. So they convinced Moscow 5 that it was safe to take a fight, just based on the fact that they have this very active lane composition, and then they go ahead and just beat them at their own game. They're really, really nicely done on the top lane, and it has been the major impact point that has snowballed them to where we are now, 25 minutes in, one lane of Rax down, second Roche pretty much slated to fall in favor of Empire.
Did you see that, Roche?
Wow. Just wow.
He's already got an Assault Caress, and we're only 25 minutes in. Meanwhile, our Bat Rider is looking for some kills. Mag diving deep behind enemy lines, but can't quite get in range for a jump. Yeah, he shredded that Roche. I don't think there's another word for it. That was quickest Roche I've seen in a long time. Like, under 5 seconds. For sure. And they push in now. They've got a Reaver up on the Doom, with a completed Assault Cuirass on Resolution and the Venge damage R being maxed out. These buildings are just gonna melt. I give this one no more than 4 or 5 seconds without a glyph. And just 6 or 7 auto attacks, maybe closer to 10 for the like, and it goes down. Now M5, they'll try to initiate. They'll Drunken Haze Resolution, they will stampede their way in. As the Brood jumps deep onto Mag, he will isolate him to start the fight. The Boulder Toss follows this up. Turdy will be the Doom, but he manages to find Tron. That's the key here to focus down. Global Silence was used to disengage and turn this, and now Nexus is on the back foot. The Panda Aspect's being munched up by Lycan, kills it off before he can respawn, or return to his main form, and it'll be Nexus next. That's 3 down. They're pursuing for a 4th as the Slark leaps away to the left. He'll end up living, but it doesn't matter. GG for Moscow 5. They just got run over. And Empire improved to 2-1.
The wolf is at your door, my friend. They just really supported him well enough that he could be the highlight of the mid to late game there, getting amazing split push, some awesome crits, huge physical DPS coming out from him, and they just didn't have an answer for it. They expected to win out the top lane. They showed with every single fight that they thought they had a stake in it, but in the end, Empire were the ones to come out on top. The Doom Silencer Vengeful Spirit lane, not one you'd expect, but one that proved very effective.
And with that, guys, that wraps up our first of 8 games today for the game show Dota 2 League. I'm LD, of course. I was joined here by Blaze. You can follow him on Twitter at BlazeCasting. And with that being said, we'll take a very quick break. We'll return for our second match of the day. That match is going to be... Let's see, waiting for my schedule to load here. And it's going to be Empire versus Virtus Pro. So we'll say goodbye to M5 for now. VP currently undefeated 2-0, and we'll see if Empire can knock them down a peg as Day 2 action of Game Show League continues after this. Stay tuned.